Warning, this husbando banner is not for everyone. If he does not fulfill your husbando needs, please consider skipping. But for those of you that are considering or on the fence about Kazuha, let me shed some light on my opinions. To me, this banner is pretty much the chef's kiss, mwah, compared to a lot of the other banners we've seen in the past. But now, before I start praising Kazuha and his banner, like I mentioned at the start, it's important to remember that if you don't like the 4 stars, if you don't like Kazuha's playstyle or abilities from what you've seen, if you want to save your primos for a future 5-star character, maybe an Inazuma, for example, or if you can wait for a Kazuha rerun in the future, please consider skipping and saving. Now that that's out of the way, if you guys didn't already know, Kazuha's banner is going to consist of these 3 4-stars. It's going to be Razor, Rosaria, and Bennett. And before I get into the 4 stars specifically, let me just tell you about some of the upside that I'm seeing to Kazuha on this stacked ass banner. So at first I didn't really like him, but now that I've kind of watched his gameplay a little bit more, I've gotten to see some of his lore, I'm becoming a little more intrigued by him as a 5-star, especially with all the recent buffs given to Swirl and Elemental Mastery. Obviously these damage buffs are not game changing, and it doesn't make him stronger than someone like Diluc or Ganyu, for example, but I'll take any positive changes that we can really get for these weaker elements and their reactions. Although I do think that more, adjustments and further buffs need to be made in the future for these elements. Another reason why I'm starting to fall in love more with Kazuha is that I really have always been a fan of the Anemo characters. I've been playing Venti since the absolute beginning of the game, and I've been playing main DPS Xiao since he was added recently. So I've been a fan of Anemo characters. That's just I really like their playstyle. I like a lot of their movement capabilities that you can get from some of their attack and passive talents. And I really like the swirl synergies a lot when you create those swirl reactions with other elements. It's really always been a fun part of the game for me since the start of the game. And obviously you want those high damage numbers, from your 5 stars. And I'm not going to say, like I said, that Kazuha is better than some of these other stronger Pyro or Cryo or even Hydro main DPS 5 stars we've seen in recent patches, but sometimes just playing and having a character that's fun, that you like, even the weaker ones, it's made the game a lot more enjoyable for not only myself, but some of my friends that play. And, if that sounds like a play style that you're into and just kind of enjoying the game, even if it's not the max DPS, like stacked build every single time, I would just keep that in the back of your head. And when we take a look at his actual skill set, I think they look freaking awesome. His talents just seem to be like right up my alley in terms of how they play and just how fun they would be to utilize. When he has his elemental skill, you can do a plunge attack with it as well. That creates kind of like a vacuum, and you'll be able to swirl with that skill as well and have other elements alongside with that boosted elemental mastery he gets from his ascension and from the damage buffs that they added recently. And his ultimate will pretty much give an even stronger damage buff when mixed with Cryo, Pyro, Hydro, or Electro. And we have to consider that Kazuha doesn't have to be a main DPS as well. He can play support when you look at some of these builds that you can make with him. So just keep that in mind. I'll probably put some future videos out for builds that I'm considering if I get him. But yeah, he's essentially going to be extremely fun and versatile from what I can tell. He's going to be able to perform those multiple debuffs with his skill and ultimate from the swirl. And on top of this, Kazuha being a sword character actually makes me really excited, as I used to be a Kaching main until around AR 50. So I have a level 90 black sword just ready to go for him. I am going to try out some other ones as well, which I'll mention in future videos, like the Iron Sting, because that has elemental mastery, just to see which one is best. And lastly, which I probably don't need to mention, how cracked the Viridescent Venerer set is for Anemo characters. Not only is this going to provide a straight up swirl damage boost, but it's going to decrease enemy resistances to particular elements that are infused with the swirl against them. All around, one of my favorite sets in the game and playstyles to run. But I gotta say, I don't even know if I'll have enough primos to get Kazuha or even get to Pity, just because I haven't played the game in so long. But the 4 stars make this whole banner pretty much seem like it's super worth it to me. To me, Kazuha is almost like an extra added bonus. Obviously, you want to get him, but if I didn't get him and I got copies of Razor, Rosaria, or Bennett, I would totally be fine with that. But now let's quickly go over the 4 stars and then we'll wrap up the video. So first, we just need to get rid of the elephant in the room, which is Bennett. He obviously, for the past 4 to 5 patches, has been one of, if not the best, at filling the support and healer role at the same time. He can even dish out huge damage numbers sometimes, and some people definitely build him with DPS capabilities. He not only provides the big chunks of heals to whoever's on the field, but he provides massive damage boosts with his ultimate, and he has great synergies with different artifact sets like the Noblesse Oblige set, and all around, he's a fairly easy and straightforward character to build. The only one downside is his true capabilities are somewhat gated behind his Constellation 1, but if you're going to go all the way on Kazuha's banner and try and pull him, it shouldn't be much of a problem to get at least one extra copy of Bennett. So next on the list we have Razor, who is one of the best physical DPS characters that isn't a 5-star. He's probably the second or third best Phys DPS in the entire game. Constellations aren't necessarily required on him. I'd pretty much say that each one you're getting additional either buffs to his damage or his crit chance or lowering enemy defenses in certain scenarios. And if you already have a main 5-star DPS, Razor can actually be an amazing addition to your teams because he can serve as a secondary main DPS in Spiral Abyss. So just keep that in mind as well. I'll say the one downside is that he partially wields Electro, but that's not even really a downside because his primary damage that he deals is physical damage. So this isn't really a huge issue. And also we have a couple artifact sets that are geared towards physical damage builds, so you definitely can make Razor pretty stacked, and he's definitely one of the best 4-stars out there. Now Rosaria, I can't really speak too much about her, only because she's one of the only 4-stars that I haven't really used very much. Like I have a copy of her, but I haven't used or really leveled her up at all. However, from gameplay, she just seems like she's going to be a very useful support team member. She can do some DPS stuff, but I would definitely not build her as a main DPS. She's more of either a cryo support or, gives access to things like superconduct, things like that. And the fact that she uses cryo allows for really the easy access to the strongest reaction in the game, which is the melt reaction. But yeah, just to wrap things up, all in all, this banner seems like a pretty great banner to me, and I'll definitely be summoning on it with however many primos I end up having by then. I would highly suggest you guys look more into Kazuha if you haven't already. And I mean, the 4-stars on the banner are just fantastic, so what's not to love about that? But yeah, that's going to be the end of the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like on the video and consider subscribing to the channel. And other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.